Welcome children. This is Deepa Fadke. We are going to begin with Standard 10th History Chapter 2 Historiography Indian Tradition Part 1. This chapter consists of basically two headings: Tradition of Indian Historiography and Indian Historiography Various Ideological Frameworks. So let's begin with Tradition of Indian Historiography. Children, we have learnt about the Western tradition of historiography in the last chapter. This chapter we will be learning about tradition of Indian historiography. Indian historiography gets divided into three parts: ancient period, medieval period and modern period. So let's begin with the historiography in the ancient period. The inscriptions on the Harappan seals, other artifacts confirm that Indians had mastered the art of writing as early as the 3rd millennium BCE or perhaps before that. The inscriptions found about the Emperor Ashoka Maurya's times, they are on rocks and stone pillars. From the 1st century CE, inscriptions begin to occur on coins, metal images, sculptures and copper plates, through which we come to know about the dates of various kings, dynastic genealogies, territorial extent, administration of empires, important political events, climate and families. The ancient epics including the epics Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas, Jain and Buddhist texts, historical accounts by Indian authors, travelogues by foreign travelers, writing of biographies of kings, dynastic histories mark an important step in the Indian historiography. Harshacharit, written in 7th century CE by Bana Bhatta, is about King Harsha's biography, which tells us about economic, social, religious, cultural life during king's times. So, the inscriptions about Harappan seals and other artifacts tell us, through which we come to know that Indians had already known about the writing skills. When we see the inscriptions of the Emperor Ashoka Maurya's times, they are also on the rocks and stone pillars. But after 1st century onwards, inscriptions began to occur on metal images, copper plates, sculptures, etc., through which we get to know about various kings, their dynastic genealogies. Genealogy is a study or tracing of the lines of descent, then administration of empires, etc. Even the epics like Mahabharata, Ramayana, Puranas, Jain and Buddhist texts, all these, even the Indian authors' historical accounts, travelogues written by foreign travelers, biographies of the kings, even autobiographies of the kings, all these things definitely give us the clear idea about Indian historiography. Now we are going to learn about different people and their contribution or work, which mark an important step in the Indian historiography. You would like to know about this copper plate, children, which you can see on the screen. This copper plate was found at Sohagaura, district Gorakhpur, Uttar Pradesh, and it must be from the Mauryan period. The inscription on this is in Brahmi script, and the symbols known as tree and railing, mountain at the beginning of the inscription also occur on punch marked coins. Another symbol which looks like a structure erected on 4 pillars is supposed to be an indicative of a granary. That means it is supposed to be suggestive of precautions taken in the times of a famine. Let's learn about historiography in the medieval period. Children, we are going to learn about the historians and their contribution, their work, which appear to be the benchmark in the Indian historiography during the medieval period. So Kalhana was a historian who wrote Rajatarangini in 12th century CE, and it was about the history of Kashmir. After critically examining various sources, he wrote this Rajatarangini. In the medieval India, the historian in the courts of Muslim rulers, they were influenced by Arabic and Persian historiography. Amongst them was Ziauddin Barani. Ziauddin Barani holds an important place in the Indian historiography of the medieval period. In his book Tarikh-e-Firuz-e-Shahi, very clearly he has stated the purpose of historiography. He says that historian's duty is not limited up to recording the ruler's valor or policies of welfare or all good deeds that are done by him. He says that also the historian's duty is to depict, is to portray about the incorrect policies, rulers' failings in his writing. Then he should also consider the impact of the wise people, about the saints, about the learned people. So this way Barani expanded the scope of historiography. During the Mughal courts, the custom of adding suitable quotes and beautiful pictures was also introduced. Let's learn about Babur, who was the founder of the Mughal Empire. He had written an autobiography named Tuzuk-e-Babari, which contains the battles which he fought, various regions which he travelled, cities which he travelled, and which also includes the local economy, then the customs and the flora wherever he travelled. After Kalhana, the next name is Abul Fazl. Abul Fazl wrote Akbarnama, which is very important from the viewpoint of critical historiography. He had a different method. He always used to collect authentic historical documents and then he scrutinized them. That is the reason it is looked upon as devoid of bias and hence his writing becomes realistic. Bakhar. Bakhar is an important type of historical document during medieval period, which contains elegies of the heroes, stories of heroic events, battles, lives of great men. What is Bakhar, children? Bakhar is again a book which contains lots of information about the person, maybe his heroic deeds, maybe his tragic ends. So all the minute details about the lives of great men, or maybe sometimes there are different events like battles and all are also included into Bakhar. Krishnaji Ananta Sabhasad. This name has to be mentioned over here. Krishnaji Ananta Sabhasad was a writer during the reign of Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj. Krishnaji Ananta Sabhasad had written Sabhasad Bakhar, which gives us the information about the rule of Shivaji Maharaj. Same way there are different Bakhars. Bhausaibanchi Bakhar describes the battle of Panipat. Then there are Bakhars like Panipatchi Bakhar, Holkaranchi Kaifiyat. These provide information about Holkar and their contributions to the Maratha rule. We must learn about the types of Bakhar. Biographies of kings, dynastic history, descriptions of different events, autobiographies, biographies, Bakhar regarding grievances based on mythologies, history of a sect, state administration by a king. So these kinds of various types of Bakhar are there. Let's learn about the historiography in the modern period. In the 20th century, the Indian archaeological excavation work and the research work was taken up under the supervision of the Britishers. Sir Alexander Cunningham, who was the first Director Survey of India, he took up this work, excavation work. Then Harappan civilization was discovered during the tenure of Sir John Marshall. You can see their pictures on the screen, children. Because of this, the antiquity of history could be traced out to 3rd millennium BCE or even earlier. Now, children, we will learn about the work or maybe the written work done by the Britishers or British officers. The history of India was written by Mount Stuart Elphinstone, who was the governor of Bombay, now Mumbai, in 1841. The 2 volumes written by William Wilson Hunter on Indian history show somewhat impartial treatment of the subject. Then comes a British officer, Grand Duff's writing. Grand Duff wrote a book, A History of Marathas, which was published in 3 volumes, in which he ridicules Indian civilization as well as history. Similar tendency has been noticed in Colonel Todd's writings, who wrote about Rajasthan's history. James Mill, who had written the History of British India in 3 volumes in 1817, and rather it was the first book on Indian history written by a British historian. Now there are some Indian writers, Indian historians who took up the task of exposing the limitations of Grand Duff's writings, and their names are Neelakanta Janardhan Kirtane, Vishwanath Kashinath Rajwade. Children, we have completed part 1 over here. So we are going to continue with part 2 in the next video session. Till then, thank you.